Warm welcome from Geneva, Switzerland. I'm Reda Sadki from the Geneva Learning Foundation, here today with Charlotte for the Gavi Zero-Dose Learning Hub and the very first ever Zero-Dose Insights live event. We're going to be looking at, in a very short time, 15-20 minutes, unless everyone wants to keep discussing what we learned from the experiences of zero-dose practitioners from Bangladesh and Mali. We're starting in just 30 seconds. Stay with us. We'll be kicking off, and you'll be hearing there right now 212 zero-dose practitioners who were there on the 31st of May for the first inter-country peer learning exchange, and who've come back to tell us what they've learned and what they are doing with what they learned at the time. Here we go. All right. Warm welcome to you from Geneva, Switzerland. I'm Reda Sadki from the Geneva Learning Foundation, here with Charlotte and Boo. And we're kicking off for the first time ever for the Gavi Zero-Dose Learning Hub Insights Live before the summer. 31st of May 2023 was held the first ever inter-country peer learning exchange through the Zero-Dose Learning Hub. Zero-dose practitioners from Bangladesh and Mali came together to share, and to share their experience in very practical, pragmatic ways to support each other and to learn from each other. So here we have a picture from Bangladesh and one from Mali. That was on the 31st of May. And today I'm going to ask Charlotte, what is Zero-Dose Insights Live? What's going to happen in the next 15 to 20 minutes?
Thank you, Reda, and hi, everyone. So what we'll really be focusing on is having zero-dose workers, those who participated at the ZDLH-X one event between Bangladesh and Mali on the 31st of May, come to share with us what they learned, what they took away from that event, and what they are doing with this knowledge to identify and reach zero-dose children and under-immunized communities in their context, especially as that event really zoomed in on strategies that were employed in security-compromised areas, in hard-to-reach remote rural areas, and in urban communities. Thank you, Reda, and over.
Thank you, Charlotte. So, of course, this is reflecting 3 months on. What have we learned? How are we using what we learned? And this is exactly 1 week before the next big inter-country peer learning exchange. And when I say big, I mean big, because this ZDLH-X2 next week will bring together zero-dose practitioners from Uganda and Nigeria. If this is not already in your calendars, it very much should be. Before we go further, we want to honor our ZDLH-X1 contributors who shared zero-dose experiences from Bangladesh, Mali, and many other countries. We're going to start with Dr. Seydou, Amadou Seydou. And I want to make sure, yes, that he is online. And then we'll hear from Gloria Anyanmou.
Bien sûr, je vous entends très bien.
So, que représente ce ZDLH-X1 pour vous?
What does ZDLH-X1 represents for you?
Vous m'entendez?
5 sur 5.
Alors, donc, maintenant, je n'ai pas entendu vraiment la question de Reda. Si vous pouvez.
La question est très simple. Le 31 mai, vous avez participé au ZDLH-X1. Qu'est-ce que cet événement représente pour vous?
What is that for you?
Disons que je suis le...
Thank you for repeating your question. So I am Dr. Seydou Mamadou Traoré. I am from Mali. I am a member of the Humanization Agenda 2030. And of course, for us, being able to share, that was very important. So regarding here, what we've learned, that was really good. We've heard as well the experience in Bangladesh. That was very helpful. And we were able to learn from other professionals, immunization professionals. how you can work as well as a team, work with the other systems, other partners, key stakeholders, and also the community response, because it's true that in Mali, our main target population is going to be the zero-dose children, where there's a real catch-up to be done. So this very first exchange was very welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Seydou Amadou Traoré. Let's go now to Gloria Aniwanmu, who also participated on the 31st of May. Gloria, for you, what does this ZDLH-X1 event, in which zero-dose practitioners from Bangladesh and Mali, but from many other countries, shared their experience, learned from each other, was this event for you? Why did it matter? What difference did it make for you? And Gloria, I'm asking you to unmute. Otherwise, I believe we'll go to Fanny Ogwo. Okay, Gloria, don't forget to introduce yourself. What was this event for you?
Hello, everyone. I am Gloria Anyamu from Nigeria. I work to improve vaccination in my state in Nigeria. And for me, this event, ZDLH-X1, was so exciting, and it made me to feel what other people were feeling in their own country, especially for Mali, that was part of the country. And I got an opportunity to hear from other professionals what were their challenges were and how they strategized to solve those challenges, as well as I tried to relate it to what I'm as well experienced here in Nigeria. And I tried to put in their strategy to what I also do here. And it's so insightful. It was so insightful. And I was grateful that I was part of this ZDLH-X1. And I look forward to the second one. And fortunately, my country is part of it.
Yes,
so
indeed.
A lot of lessons to be learned from ZDLH-X2.
Wonderful, thank you, Gloria and Amadou. So we have a lot of messages coming in online. Let's just, I've been waiting to share just a few of them. We're not going to be able to share them all. So first of all, Mubarak from Nigeria, tell us which state at least, or which LGA. There's a very big network in Nigeria. We'd like you to connect you with other colleagues and tell us what is your interest in zero dose. Same question for Asiya Abdul Karim. What country? We don't even know. So please tell us. That's a beautiful baby. Is that your baby? We're looking at the comments. If we can have a name, just as a complete aside, but completely off topic. Well, not quite off topic, given that we're talking about child vaccination. Fatou Tioye from Senegal, a warm welcome to you connecting via LinkedIn. Issa Zongo says, good afternoon, but Issa, we want to know a lot more. Like, what do you do around zero dose? Where do you work? Why are you tuning in to this Insights Live, in which we're sharing, reflecting on what we learned 3 months after the first inter-country peer learning exchange? Here we have Shahid Awan, who just says hi. So Shahid, yeah, we want to know a lot more. Okay, Becky Tagbo says, great, I was there in May, I am here again. I learned a number of striking strategies. Tell us which ones, dear Becky. And Sadi Ain Biuna from Uganda, tell us again, same questions. Tell us more about what you do. We're keeping an eye on your messages, and we hope to have time to go over them. This is a lightning fast event, and we'll be coming back now to the questions. But before I do that, we're going to give you a quick overview. First of all, 1,964 participants from 84 countries. That was the ZDLH-X1 event on the 31st of May. Did we reach the right people? You can see almost everyone was directly involved with zero-dose work, from mostly subnational system levels, but also over a quarter participation in from the national level, and international global partners present as well. The split around almost a third women represented in the event on the 31st of May. Now, ahead of the event, practitioners shared nearly 500 zero-dose related experiences and more than 600 learning insights. So we really focused on identify and reach. And before we go any further, we want to show you the names of the contributors. We, of course, unfortunately won't have time to read them all, but we'd like to do this to really recognize and acknowledge the contributions of zero-dose practitioners. We have the Anglophones coming first. You can see here all of the countries, including, of course, Bangladesh, which is the sort of country being featured or showcased. So this was ahead of the 31st of May. We want to acknowledge and honor these contributors. If you're in front of your screen, even if it may look odd to your colleagues, take a minute to clap, bring your hands together. Now we have the Francophones as well. And these were individuals who took time out of their busy schedules to share their zero-dose experience in order to help and support fellow colleagues. That is why we opened this session by asking, what was ZDLH-X1 for you? Now I want to review quickly, what did we hear from you? We heard several insights. Insights number one is that triangulating across multiple data sources is important to identify zero-dose children and missed communities. Insight number two, engaging closely with communities is critical to understand barriers and co-develop solutions. Insight number three is that working with influential community members, including religious and traditional leaders, is central. Insight number four, being opportunistic, imaginative, and working with key community actors to address the challenges associated with insecurity and conflict. And then five, developing partnerships with communities so that there's a strong sense of community ownership. Now, that's it. Those are the insights. There will be a full report that we hope to be sharing with you soon. But now we want to hear from you 3 months on. What did you do? You used your time to listen, to learn, to contribute. What did you take away 3 months on? What have you done with what you learned? So Charlotte, I'm going to turn to you to guide us for this next segment. We have 4 questions. And of course, we encourage participants, contributors from Mali and Bangladesh to contribute, but contributions from other countries are welcome as well.
Yes, Reda, and there are a lot of contributions in the chat for those who are in the Zoom studio. But we listened earlier on from Mali, we listened from Nigeria. I'd like to turn to Dr. Tusime Ramadan from Uganda. Dr. Tusime, if you can go ahead, introduce yourself and share what you learned from ZDLH-X1.
Thank you, Charlotte. Are you getting me clearly?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Tusime Ramadan from Uganda, a retired medical doctor, working with the CBO community-based organization, Humanitarian Volunteers International, as a country director. I was there on 31st. I got to know and hear how other countries do the work, and I got some tips and knowledge which I'm using now, mostly from Mali, how they used to get to hard to reach areas and how they used to go for the areas which are conflicted with the rebels. So that has encouraged us to reach, mostly me, to reach hard areas and follow up, and it has worked for me to get the zero-dose children around, register them, micro-plan, and execute the plan.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tusime Ramadan.
All right, Charlotte, who shall we hear from next?
Thank you, you're welcome.
I see Ismaila Ibrahim Edego. You have left a comment in the chat and your hand was raised, so I'm inviting you to go ahead and share what you learned. But do start by introducing yourself, please. Ismaila Ibrahim.
I think it's best to try to set up 2 or 3 people to unmute, and we see who unmutes first. Ismaila is muting and unmuting. Of course, these issues will happen to everyone. Fanny Ogwo, we'd love to hear from you. I imagine you're getting ready for next week's ZDLH-X2 because you are from Nigeria, and this will be Nigeria and Uganda. Not a face-off, but a collaboration, a sharing of experience. Fanny, you were there on the 31st of May. You heard experiences from Mali and Bangladesh. What did you take away What difference has it made for you? How have you put the experiences that were shared to use in your own work? That's what we're interested in today.
Thank you very much. I'm Fanny Ogu, an independent immunization volunteer addressing zero-dose challenges in rural communities of Delta State, Nigeria, Ndukwa West precisely. I was there, and it was so motivating because I found out that most of the challenges are similar, although there are some variations, there are some additional issues, like in my community, even in presence of the existing primary healthcare center, people don't believe in orthodox medicine. They don't see the need for the vaccination. So, but one of the things that I took away from that occasion was the aspect of using social occasions like wedding. So I decided to chip in naming ceremony, because when there is an issue of naming ceremony, when it's an event of naming ceremony, women gather a lot, even those that are still waiting to be pregnant. So we're now using it as an opportunity to carry on a campaign, awareness campaign of what they stand to gain when they get their children vaccinated. And for those that are yet to be mothers, they are given the opportunity to know what they are supposed to take as vaccines before, during, and after for their children. That is my take home. And I can't be grateful enough to Geneva Learning Foundation, because this learning is more or less learning for action. And I'm utilizing all that I have learned so far. Thank you so much. Over.
Thank you very much, Fanny Ogu. And of course, gratefulness goes to Gavi that is supporting this Zero-Dose Learning Hub, and in particular, the country learning hubs in 4 target countries or supporting countries, Bangladesh, Mali, that we're discussing, the experiences of which we're discussing today, and then Nigeria and Uganda that will really be showcased next Wednesday with many experiences that continue to be shared and put to use. Today, we're interested in how the experiences that you gain from the first ever inter-country peer learning exchange, how you are putting them to use in your daily practice. I have an example here from Becky Tagbo, who said, I learned about the use of festive periods. It struck me, and this was an experience shared by zero-dose practitioners from Mali. It struck me that Christmas is a big event around here. I coordinate a big event that reaches over 1,000 people in the community. I plan to fully exploit it this time around and possibly collaborate with primary healthcare staff in that community to track zero-dosers and create vaccination awareness too. Now, that's two wonderful examples in addition to the opening comments and insights that we heard. Back to you, Charlotte. We have 4 questions up on the screen. What did you learn about zero-dose practice from the Mali and Bangladesh experiences shared last 31st of May? So 3 months on, did anything surprise you? Charlotte, who shall we hear from next? And I know Ismaila Ibrahim Edego tried, but couldn't quite get to the point where we could hear what he was saying.
Yes, Reda, we have 2 hands raised that I've invited to unmute, Dr. Eke Hudu and Michael Olabanchi. While they are unmuting, Reda, I wanted to highlight maybe a comment that is in line with that of Professor Tagbo in the chat from Fuseini Dembele in Mali, who says, after the 31st May session, I was surprised by the generalization of my experience to other events, social events, according to the context. That is marriages, circumcisions. And so my conclusion is that opportunities never lack. It's only a matter of taking advantage of them to reach zero-dose and under-immunized children. So I thought it important to highlight that comment in the English language.
Fascinating. And we've just closed the loop between Fuseini Dembele, who shared the experience of using these festive events, and actually hearing practitioners who are putting that knowledge, that learning to use. Well done. All right, Charlotte, who shall we hear from next? I see you have Mikhail Olabanji I'm concerned about the balance between the countries and genders of people speaking. So please, if you are from Nigeria and if you are a man, I encourage you to hold on until we have heard from women who are not from Nigeria in order to keep to keep in line with our rules of engagement. Back to you, Charlotte.
Yes, Reda, I'll just say, since Michael is already unmuted, we'll listen to him. I'm sure he's going to be the last male from Nigeria that we are listening to for this Insights Live. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much. I'm Olabanji Mikael from Nigeria. I work with Space City Hospital, Lagos, Nigeria, as the Quality and Patient Safety Manager. I'm very grateful to be here to listen to other colleagues from all walks of life to see the challenges and what they profile as solution, which I've already given one or two things from there. And also what we are doing to tackle the issue of zero dose is to organize a regular session for parents focusing on importance of immunization and the benefit of antenatal care for maternal and child health. And also we are looking at adapting a continuously adjust the micro plan based on evaluation results and changing community needs, aiming for continuous improvements in the delivery of zero dose routine immunization and antenatal care service at Space City Hospital and beyond, so as to get the challenges of not reaching out to the young ones and intending mothers. So we are aiming at reaching out to other people by also engaging the community elders and the using of radio program. Thank you very much. Looking at the next class of next week, we are about to gain more insight from other colleagues. Thank you very much, Olabanji here.
Thank you very much indeed. Back to you, Charlotte, for a non-Nigerian woman speaker to share. Again, the questions are very, very to the point. What did you learn from this first sharing of experience between Bangladesh and Mali? And what have you done with what you learned in your own zero-dose practice? Who shall we hear from? And I suggest that Charlotte, you volunteer some of the prominent scholars and zero-dose practitioners that we know were there on the 31st of May and have a lot to say.
Yes, Reda, I'm inviting Kokre Anita Nyangohan to unmute from Côte d'Ivoire. But meanwhile, we have Burema Kabore from Burkina Faso. He's a man, but Burema, if we can listen to Anita, and then we'll turn towards you. But maybe Anita is having technical glitches. So Reda, I'll ask for us to do an exception. Okay, I see Anita Hello? Is on. Yes, Anita, oui. Anita, allez-y, s'il vous plaît, présentez-vous.
Bonjour à toutes. Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Anita, and I'm based in Ivory Coast. And for the meeting on the 31st May, I learned how to encourage and support the women to bring their children in the vaccination centers. And this task is not easy, because we have women in the communities who are concerned about the vaccination and the health for their children. And it was very interesting to take part in this event, and this insights helps us to drive further our strategies and actions. And I am happy to work to support these women and to support these children towards vaccination.
Kokre Anita Nyangoran, can you give us a concrete example of something you took away from the ZDLH-X1 that you have actually used in the work that you do for the Côte d'Ivoire Red Cross?
Ok, il faut dire que, comme je disais tantôt,
Yes, I have a action plan because now I'm communicating more with the women so that they take children to the vaccination center in the hospital. Last year, there were vaccines for diseases to protect children. So when there are actions that are possible to be deployed, I'm always ready to support the community to support children, especially through those children.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kokwe Anita Nyangohan from the Ivorian Red Cross.
And Charlotte, thank you. Before we go to the next speaker, just a point of order. In 6 minutes, the zero-dose practitioners here with us in our Zoom studio, as well as those of you who are following across YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and everywhere else you may be watching this event, will get to vote. Should we extend beyond the 30-minute mark? An Insights Live event is in principle 30 minutes, but we'll ask you if you'd like to hear more of how people have been using what they learned on the 31st of May through this experience, sharing of experience between Mali and Bangladesh. We will exceptionally extend the session because I see so many hands raised and so much interest here. But we'll ask you to vote on this in order to proceed. Back to you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Reda. So right now we have Thierry Samuel Muhamedi, whose microphone is already open. Go ahead, Thierry Samuel, and do start by introducing yourself.
Ok, merci de la parole accordée.
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you. I am Thierry Samuel. I am a doctor, Congolese, and we took part in the last forum. And thanks to this participation, we were able to see what's going on in other countries, to see their experiences. And on top of that, we wanted to go further because we wanted to bring awareness to mothers, to women, on the importance of vaccinating their children. Because if that's fathers, they don't agree with the vaccination, it's very unlikely that moms will take the initiative to proceed. So, and this is something that we included in our context, in the Nyamba context. So we are targeting pockets of people who refuse the vaccination. And I thought that we need to strengthen the how to bring awareness with the leaders, the community leaders, and through building trust with these community leaders, we can move forward. And also, thanks to this experience, we properly understood how to catch up with the vaccination for the children. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thierry Samuel, for zooming in on the importance of gender considerations and the role that men can play in ensuring that children are reached with the vaccines that they need. All right, I see Gibrila Baidamba, and forgive me if I get your name wrong. Your mic is already unmuted, and I'm hoping you are a woman that is not from DRC. Over to you, Gibrila.
No, I'm sorry, I'm a man from Sierra Leone.
Okay, please go ahead.
That is wonderful too. We're only trying to keep a balance, so everyone can have a voice on an equal footing. Warm welcome to you.
First and foremost, we want to tell thanks to the participants. I think this was excellent experience, particularly the discussions, and then even when we are reading through colleagues posting things on the forum, it's great. And one thing we experience is, like ours in Sierra Leone, is the integration process, right? And when we use the adult immunization in terms of COVID and then integrated it together with routine immunization services, what we observe is that when the elderly conform to immunization, the children just go into naturally. Particularly when the male, we have a lot of male participation in terms of going to co-immunization services as a challenge. But we used the COVID-19 immunization integration process as a way of reaching both the adult and the child, right? And that played significantly into our own advantage. And then we just like you guys are saying, there are a lot of other things we learned from this hub was very, very, crucial and critical in achieving our
Jibrila, can you give us one specific example? Because in this case, it's not COVID-19 vaccination, but identifying and reaching zero-dose children. Can you think of something you've done in the last 3 months where that was inspired by it, that was an idea that you took?
We have been doing we call it surge. We call it surge here. Every month we do a surge. And during the surge process, all those critical stakeholders are involved. And mostly, as I was emphasizing, we found out that male participation was low. And then we used the male immunization because there is a dropout of the second dose of COVID. And then we used that during the surges and integrated with finding specifically children with measles second dose dropout, which is very high, right? To see that we capture those children, and which of course the performance is very, very great. Out of the 16 districts, about almost 16 districts, almost about 12 of them have coverages above 90%, except few that are at least 80% coverages.
Thank you, Jibrila. All right, we're at the half-hour mark. So first of all, a round of applause. Even if you're alone in front of your computer screen, please tell us, if you want to pull your hands together. And now comes an important moment. We know that your time is precious. We know that you are very busy. Is this interesting enough for you to want to stay in the Zoom studio or on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you may be, Facebook, and continue this discussion, sharing what you learned and how you have applied it since the 31st of May, so 3 months on? If your answer is yes, and you would like us to extend exceptionally this session, please type yes into the chat wherever you are. We will see it. There'll be a short delay. If you want to opt out, you can leave, or you can type no to let us know that you really did not find what you were hoping for. So let's go to the, all right, we have Olivier Ja, Professor Becky Tagbo, Jibrila Adesoji, Jan, Rachel, Lillian, everyone can do this, Aminu Yahaya. Right now, we're not seeing enough responses to justify extending this session. So type yes or we if you are Francophone, if you would like us to extend the session. I think we were still missing a few more yeses in order to really justify going further with this discussion. What do you think, Charlotte? I'm not seeing a flood of yeses. Okay, that's
and I'm encouraging those who have not yet typed yes. And what about the social media platform, Reda? Are you getting yeses from there as well?
Yes, indeed. Yes. Yes seems to be the answer. All right. As well as applause, that people are using the applause feature in Zoom. Okay. So let's now go back to the 4 questions, but it's really, what did you learn from the sharing of experience between countries? All right, I'll just show. I'm not going to show all of them, but the Becky Tagbo is a pillar of the ZDLH community now, as well as many other communities, and is saying yes. So who shall we hear from next, Charlotte? I believe we still have gender and country imbalance, but we also have individuals who've been waiting for a long time to share what they learned and how they've applied it. We encourage you to share in the chat first, so that Charlotte can spot you and say, "Wow, this is really interesting," and invite you to speak. And we especially encourage you, if you are a woman, to speak during this session. Back to you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Reda. So for now, Burema Kabore has the mic unmuted. So over to you, Burema, and please do start by introducing yourself.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Bonjour, Charlotte. Bonjour, Reda.
Thank you very much. Hello to everyone. Hello, Reda, Charlotte. Hello, everyone. So my name is Burima Kabore. I am based in Burkina Faso, and I'm working at a health promoting ONG, and I'm also the chair of the FCOLAB Association, advocating for health and sustainable health access in Burkina Faso. So to answer to the question, first of all, I'm sorry. I'll be speaking in French because I am a French speaker. But to answer to the first question, what did I learn? It was very interesting to take part because I learned that there are lots of root causes that are shared by many people in Bangladesh and in Mali. I learned that we have a common denominator in our countries, and we have deep-rooted causes. Because if we want to target everyone, we need to address the root causes and identify the problem areas and involve the community leaders. And I think this was implemented in my country to involve the community leaders who were invited to one of our conferences supported by the foundation. Other thing important to highlight, what we learned is that we exchange information in our association, but in our association we don't have the proper documentation, so we have started the process before the ministry to get the proper documentation to fully run our operations. But we are working with the decision makers at the district level in terms of health so that we can share the information we learned during the previous sessions and to drive change in the program. So this is what I wanted to add, and I don't see the other question. Yes. So how for the third question, I think we have several platforms in the foundation, and all the information is shared and relayed within the WhatsApp group that was created. We share information with the different stakeholders so that we can synchronize and share the different set of knowledge that we are sharing. And if our system allows us to share information after each session, this is very positive, so that the people on the field can get insights about this information shared. So I would like to welcome this initiative to share information, because we started from zero. And for the fourth question, I think yes, it's a pleasure for us to share with Gavi, for myself, and for all the members in our association. It's a pleasure to share what we've learned thanks to our everyday practice, and to promote and advocate vaccination.
Thank you very much.
Après, il est 19. Il est chachoukan.
Il est 19, il y a
All right, Charlotte, back to you. I think we have an issue with the people's microphones being open, so let's keep it moving. And we have only a few more minutes. I appeal to contributors, speakers, to their duty of concision. If you respect your colleagues who also have something to say, please be concise and stick to the point that you want to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Reda, and I'm encouraging my fellow sisters of the Women Who Deliver Vaccine Collective that are in the room that participated in the May 31st event, who are invited to unmute to share the lessons learned. Meanwhile, we have Olivier Ja from Ivory Coast, whose hand is raised. Olivier, I am inviting you to unmute yourself and calling on you to be concise and precise. Over to you, Olivier.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Olivier. I am doctor at a North District in Ivory Coast. I am a former scholar and a member of the IPA 30, and I am glad to take part in this event, especially on this topic, the zero dose and I highly learned from the insights shared by Bangladesh and Mali. So what I wanted to add is that in Ivory Coast, we started this project, and we are at the beginning phase with an introductory meeting done at the vaccination coordination level. And what's missing in our program is the fact that the children who were not vaccinated had to be targeted through strategies such as community-based participation until we properly target and reach those zero-dose children. And it's interesting because lots of children are non-vaccinated in districts and communities, even in the one I'm working. And I am happy to see that this knowledge exchange has been very good for both countries. And I think it's important to target communities, populations, so that themselves organize and planify the activities to really target children who need vaccination. So it was a beautiful experience I wanted to share. And now that we have started this district level project, in the upcoming exchanges, we'll be able to exchange with our peers the good practices and to get the feedback and to replicate maybe the things that are working in my country. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olivier Ja. And thanks to all those who are leaving their comments in the chat, sharing what they are learning, because we are in a continuous learning process. Olivier has not just shared what he learned, but has promised that as they begin to practice, he will come back to share the new lessons and the best practices that they are observing in his district to ensure that zero-dose and under-immunized children are reached. I see we probably have two new raised hand, Reda. I want to check to try as much as possible to, okay, we have Marie-Jeanne Katoka. Marie-Jeanne Katoka, are you able to unmute yourself? And I'll also encourage Rachel Afayo, if you're able to unmute. Marie-Jeanne Katoka, your hand is raised. Are you able to unmute? So we also have Liliane Mutua. You have been sharing a lot of comments in the chat. I hope your connectivity. Okay, Samuel Isaka, will start with you.
I think Samuel.
Okay, thank you very much from Ghana, Samuel Isaka, one follower officer. So I also had experience with the zero-dose population, how to reach them, and we had case of polio vaccine.
Sorry, Samuel, I have to take a step back and ask you a question. Were you there at the 31st of May? Because today we're not sharing zero-dose experience in general. We're really interested in what did you learn on the 31st of May that you're now using in your zero-dose work. So can you tell us first, were you there on the 31st of May?
No, please.
Okay, so that is absolutely fine. The next question is, will you be there next Wednesday for the ZDLH-X 2 with Uganda, Nigeria, and Ghana that will be honored on that day?
Yes, I'll try.
All right. Okay, great. Back to you, Charlotte. And again, we're really focused on people who were there on the 31st of May. What did you learn, and what are you doing with what you learned? That's the most important question of them all.
Yeah, thank you, Reda. Auta Samaila, your mic is unmuted.
Yes, good afternoon, my fellow colleagues on the field on the immunization. Auta Samaila from Nigerian, Kaduna State, Jama local government. Yeah, I think what I learned on the 30th, it was a great experience for me. Being as a foot soldier on the zero-dose immunization on children, I've learned a new skill.
Otasamela, can you give us a concrete example of something you heard at ZDLH-X1 that you've now put to use It sounds like you really like the event, but that doesn't mean it's actually been useful to you. So can you give us a concrete example? And it is fine if you don't have a specific example. That's fine too. You just need to tell us.
Yeah, I have a very good specific example that was shared by my fellow colleague from Uganda. On the 30th, I used the experience in achieving my good zero-dose immunization on children in the field, most especially the unreached area, most especially to the physically challenged unreached area. I try to make sure that I use that simple techniques by reaching them through my RCCE, that's the Risk Communication Community Mitigation Reduction System mechanism. That's what I use.
Great. Thank you, Otasamela. Let's go now. Let's try Marie-Jeanne Katoka and Liliane Mutua. Both have their hands raised, and we've been trying to ask them to unmute. Otherwise, it feels like we... Yes, Liliane Mutua, back to you. You may be our last speaker, sharing how have you actually put to use what you learned on the 31st of May, listening and learning and sharing with zero-dose practitioners from Bangladesh, Mali, and all over the world.
Thank you. This is Lilian. From
We can barely hear you, Lilian. Can you speak up or get closer to your microphone or increase your microphone's volume?
Kenya, my health promotion officer. And what I've learned is that as much as we're in different geographical areas, we mostly face the same challenges, especially when it comes to issues of culture and also prioritizing the immunization for children. What I also came up and has helped me is the different strategies that people are working with. And I'm now incorporating us to look for the zero doses, especially when we are doing the oral cholera vaccination, where we were starting at 1 year and above, but we still found children who are zero doses, and even into the polio campaign that we are doing right now and going into the round 2 in September, we are still finding the zero doses, and especially with our refugee camp in the northern frontier, where we are having zero doses from the Somali population who have been suspected to have polio and confirmed out of 8, 6 cases confirmed. So we still need to look at our micro planning, how we identify the cases and the strategies and approaches that we are going to do on the ground. And personally, I'm now involving the religious leaders and the interior, that is the security and national government administration, to come on board. And I'm opening the identification of the zero doses beyond the healthcare workforce. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Liliane Mutua. That's very clear. All right. You hear the music in the background. That means we're winding down this first Zero Dose Insights Live. However, I do see Patience Ajay has a hand raised. So maybe, Ajay, maybe Patience, you could be our last speaker. Let's go to you, Patience, and then we shall close. A warm welcome to you. Remind us who you are. Tell us what you learned from the 31st of May that you've actually, and tell us then how you're actually putting it to use.
Good afternoon, colleagues, and a good day to everybody. I'm Patience Ajay from Niger State, Nigeria. And I work in a Mokwa local government. And I've been very excited with this platform, and I'm happy I am part of the participants today, because all along I have been missing the program. Even now I'm on transit, the network is not too good. Please pardon me. Zero dose issues, it's really a very serious issue, because once a child is zero dose, a lot of things can happen to the child and other children around them. So I've been able to know that with the community participation, we have been able to reach some of our zero doses, most especially with...
Sorry, Patience, I understand you are doing zero dose work, but what we want to know is how did that 31st of May event, what you heard from your colleagues from Mali and Bangladesh, how has that actually helped you in the zero dose work that you are doing?
Yes, we engage the community leaders. They were able to, because that area is security
I think we may have just lost patience, but it seems all around that what the Mali experience of strategies to work in conflict-affected areas has been not only listened to and learned from, but put into practice in many areas. I'm sorry, Patience, your connection is breaking up, but I think we have the gist of what you had to say. We have very little time yet. I see that Ebi Kapaye Okoyen said that we did not see your hand raised, dear Okoyen, but be that as it may, let's have you be our last speaker for this Insights Live focused on zero dose, and specifically what you've learned and put into practice based on what colleagues from Mali and Bangladesh in particular shared. Maybe we do need, Charlotte, to ask Samin Hook from Bangladesh. We actually haven't heard Bangladeshi voices. It might be important to do so before we close, but let's first hear from Okoyen. Over to you, Okoyen. What did you learn from Mali and Bangladesh experiences?
Okay, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Straightforward, during that meeting, for the first time, I heard about the IMA framework to identify, reach, measure, monitor, and do advocacy to be able to reach zero-dose cases. I shared that template, the framework, with my colleagues here, and then we started using that to be able to identify communities that have a higher burden of zero-dose cases. I work in Bayelsa State, Yenegua in Nigeria, and with that, we have been able to see that our zero-dose cases, that was about 52,000 cases, have been reduced to 27,000 cases. There was a massive reduction over this period because we identified communities, and then also with support from MRIT in the state here, we have been able to be strategic in identifying these communities and reaching out to those zero-dose cases to ensure that they get actively immunized. I think that was the key thing that I took from that experience in 31st of May. And then also the issues around using social events. We are trying to also implement all that, where we'll do market immunizations, where people will come out during market days, will be able to identify unimmunized children and immunize them. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Charlotte, if it's all right with you, I suggest we end with Samin Hook. I know it's early evening in Bangladesh. I'm hoping that we can hear from him. He's a very active Bangladeshi zero-dose practitioner, active in the Gavi Zero-Dose Learning Hub and elsewhere. Samin, are you able to speak to us? I'm asking you to unmute. Otherwise, we would have to close without hearing a single voice from Bangladesh, and we would be sad because that event on the 31st of May showcased many of the strengths of the Bangladeshi health program. Yes?
I also invited Mohammed Shahidullah, that's also from Bangladesh, hoping that he'll be able to speak if we are not able to hear from Samin. But I'm glad to see that Samin is unmuted. So that's wonderful.
All right, Samin, over to you. As a you're based in Bangladesh. Remind us who you are and what you do, and tell us what you took away from this event and how it's made a difference for you in your zero-dose work.
Thank you, Radha, for giving this opportunity. I'm basically working as a research investigator at Childhood Research Foundation, basically advocating for newer evidences and genetic evidences for the vaccination vaccination doses, and also proposing new vaccine to the government. And also working with the linking of newer ideas to how more vaccination access can be increased into the rural communities in Bangladesh. So basically, from the event in the May 31st that happened with Bangladesh and Mali, we happened to learn a lot of newer experiences that is not usually heard from a lot of zero-dose practitioners, because those experiences actually happens in many of the hard-to-reach areas and the hard-to-reach communities, and also some of the areas with the missed doses in the urban and as well as the concentrated camp in the Rohingya refugee camp that's located in south of the Bangladesh in Cox's Bazar. And in Mali, mostly we have to learn many of the areas that new strategies that can be upheld and uptaken in terms of arranging to fairs and social events, bringing them together to increase more vaccination opportunities and reaching those children that couldn't be reached under regular schedules. Regarding in terms of what we happen to learn from those is not only gaining newer ideas of how to reach zero-dose children and applying those zero-dose children in the communities, but also to think in a different way how to get more children into vaccination campaigns, as well as to enhance the capacity of the routine vaccination system, as well as generating newer evidences into the different communities. As we happen to learn, we checked into our community that we are working in. So we also managed to look into the areas we happen to have, like some of the areas that is being discovered due to the natural events. Sometimes the vaccination can be missed. However, we managed to get newer areas of reaching to those children into the next visit and enhancing the benefits of vaccination and the impacts of vaccination into the communities as well. So thank you all.
Thank you very much indeed. I believe we've reached the end of this Zero-Dose Insights Live. Just a few slides to show. 100% of you said you would invite your colleagues. 100% of you said you would join the next event. All of you said you would use what you learned in your work. Almost everyone said you learned something new. So we're hoping now to finish with the announcements for what's coming next. You all know that next Wednesday is the big event, and that is ZDLH-X, the Zero-Dose Learning Hub Exchange number 2. Number 1 was between Bangladesh and Mali, and number 2, Nigeria and Uganda. So if you are from Nigeria, Uganda, or wherever you may come from, you are a zero-dose practitioner, we very much are looking forward to facilitating this exchange between zero-dose practitioners from all over the world. That is on the 13th of September. I'll show you where you can find out, get the information you need, and that is on the ZDLH, the Zero-Dose Learning Hub on the Gavi website, but on a specific page within that Gavi website, and that is the Zero-Dose Learning Hub website. That's zdlh.gavi.org. So you don't want to miss it. We'll be having the next Insights Live on the 4th of October. Very much looking forward to your continued participation, sustained engagement as we keep learning from each other. Thank you once again, and seeing many wonderful messages as well as online. Let me see if I can capture a few of them. And we're going to do this one last time. If you haven't done it already, I'm going to give you the steps to actually go back and make sure you complete all the steps. First of all, register in Zoom. Second of all, if you haven't done it already, to share your zero-dose experience ahead of the event. And then third, and this is a link that we'll post on social media. It's a magic link. It's really long and complicated, but if you click on it, you will be able to share this event, the upcoming 13th September event, with colleagues, and then let us know if you disseminate it, because next Wednesday we'll be honoring everyone who's taken the care to actually share this with colleagues. Do this not for me, not for us, not for Charlotte, not for Gavi, but do this for your colleagues as you support each other in learning together. Once again, thank you, and thank you to Muhesi Calvert, who will have the closing comment of the day with his comments. Well done, thank you. Well done to this entire group, an amazing group once again. Thank you, and see you next Wednesday for ZDLH-X number 2. We'll have French language interpretation, so whichever language you speak, we'll be able to share with you. Let me go back. If you want to send your final messages, we'll show on screen what's going on in the chat in our Zoom studio, and we'll share any final messages you may have for all right, William Mutua says congratulations all. Boma Otobo says thanks. Anyone else? Last chance to get a comment. Lillian Mutua says looking forward. You do indeed. Last chance to get your comments in as we wrap up the event. Nuru Mpuya says thanks, congratulations, and thanks everyone. That's Fanny Ogwu. We need a poster for Easy Share. We're working on that. Joseph and Gugi, and a thank you to the TGLF, ZDLH, JSI, Nigeria Country Learning Hub Afrinet team. Monday, the Nigeria Country Learning Hub will be formally launching the Zero-Dose Learning Hub in Nigeria. All right, wonderful. We still have over 111 people in the room. That's just amazing. They have this sustained commitment, and we hope it is. We heard today how it is useful to you. We also want to thank country colleagues like Frank Hilaire Pété, is working with the Mali Country Learning Hub. This is because of Frank and other Malian colleagues that we really insisted that we should offer a French language interpretation. Last chance to get your comments in, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you once again.